Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to an all-American pickup video. Getting a little bit back to normal. We can drink Diet Coke again. So, I'm filming this one a little bit early. It's actually only the 19th of July. There's just a lot of shit, and I just want to put it away. I don't think there'll be much more, but I actually just realized I forgot something. But there's a lot of odds and ends, so I think I'm just gonna quit with the bullshit and just get right into it. To start, I don't have a lot of these, but I got a Cubone Funko Pop that my fiance got me. Um, it's like a running joke with my friends and I. I always say like Cubone is the most metal of all Pokemon because he wears the skull of his mother on his head. And then Marowak clearly grows into it and does the same. And actually, Marowak in Pokemon Sun was one of my best. And I actually, when I play the Pokemon trading card game through the app, not the real one, I actually do use an Aeolian, I think that's or Alohian or whatever, Marowak. Basically, it's like Dark Fire. One of my favorite Pokemon. But I always like Cubone ever since like the original generation. So it's always talking about it because they made one and then finally she bought it for me. And there's apparently like a big one like this too. Moving on to the odds and ends part of it as well. My friend, who currently lives in Las Vegas, but actually no, I think as of this recording, he's now living in Texas. He decided to hit up a thrift store and like a flea market or something on his way out of the state, and he found a bunch of stuff that he thought I would like. So to start, I got 2 issues of Nintendo Power, which I had this issue growing up. Like I actually remember having a subscription and receiving it. This one I've obviously seen a lot, but he sent me these. He was like, they weren't expensive. They're sirens. He was just like, I saw this. I thought you'd enjoy it. And this care package also had some games in it. Now watch, he's gonna get stuck at the light. Okay, anyway. So this wherever he was also had some games in it, but also packs of Big League Chew. So I got that as well. But I remember this one, but some of the stuff, I mean, I know everybody does like these walkthroughs of it, but just like so 90s. So we got those. And then he also found 2 Super Famicom games of all things. A box copy of Dragon Ball Z, the fighting game. This is the one that takes place during the Cell Saga, or came out around the time of the Cell Saga. And then a copy of Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Don't have the manuals, they came in the box, but he was just like, dude, they were like $3. And I figured, even if you don't use them, you will enjoy them. And he wasn't kidding. Like, I was actually, that's pretty cool, given what it is, because I can't even find that shit at Book Off anymore. Speaking of books, we got a lot of books. So, this Mamma Jamma finally came out. This is a guide to Japanese role-playing games from Bitmap Books. Now, here's the kicker. I'm holding it up. It looks like it's heavy. That's because it is fucking heavy. This is what always happens. The phone rings. I have to move the phone, which is the camera. And then the lighting, which is already fucked up, gets more fucked up. And here we have it. Actually, let me get back to this. So, this thing is pretty fucking big. I think it's over 700 pages, actually. But I had known that this book was coming out for it's 650. I've known this book has been coming out for a long while. And I am a huge fan of Bitmap Books' books. Essentially, you could almost call this like an 80s, 90s high school textbook. And it basically just goes through a bunch of games, just give you some images, some blurbs, and I have different contributing writers, some of which you may know from YouTube, some you may know from RPG-related websites, things along those lines. So you get I guess you could say, a different sort of style, but I believe most of the reviews were written by Kurt Koltada, who does Hardcore Gaming 101 for many years, and I've loved his books too. So I think this is more of like a collaboration thing that he was doing with Bitmap. Now, I also got some art books. These are reissues. So anybody knows about the Persona artwork, and these books had come out in Japan several years ago. This one is actually just artwork from 2004 to 2010, and then this one's from 2010 until 2017. And it took several years, and eventually Udon released them over here, and then they went out of print, and then they went rare, and then they became stupid expensive. And I think at one point they were fetching over $100. I know the Valkyria Chronicles art books at one point were fetching close to 200. This is before the pandemic, just by the nature of it. And hearing that these were getting a reissue for 25, $26, it was a no-brainer. They were actually supposed to come out a month ago, and they got delayed. And the last book we picked up is Kingdom Farts Ultimania, the story. So for the story before Kingdom Hearts 3, because this came out before Kingdom Hearts 3, and at that point, that there was no thought of Kingdom Hearts 3 because we never knew when it was gonna fucking show up. And I think the book is better for not including Kingdom Hearts 3 because honestly, that was just a terrible fucking mess. I take it back. It didn't do anything for me, but you know, by comparison, I think really 1 and 2 were my nostalgia lies. And then the final and then got me a little set of these, which I haven't opened yet. And these, I think this is going to become par for the course when it comes to hardware these days. They're going to sell out immediately, which we saw with Metroid Dread. And then day of, everybody's going to fucking have them. Would you say it's artificial scarcity? I don't think so. I think they're just not giving enough of a quantity to start for a pre-order. You know, it encourages, maybe it is artificial scarcity. Like if you have a pre-order for 50, for an allotment of 50, knowing very well you're going to have 200 day of, people are going to hope somebody cancels, there's going to be tons, everybody's going to buy them, thinking they can flip them, and then they don't, but guess what? The retailers and the manufacturers still get their money. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory. Think of it what you will. But to me, it makes a shit ton of sense, and I would be doing the same thing. I don't know what to do with my current Joy-Cons, though, because I actually have the 2 light blue ones, and I don't think those are being made anymore. Now, in terms of games, we have a bunch of Switch, but I'm actually going to go through all the PS4 and 5 stuff first, just to get that out of the way. So Best Buy did like a crazy clearance thing where they basically just decided they wanted nothing that wasn't PS5 and Xbox One Series X and S. And they just made everything like $8 to $10 for no reason. So by the time I discovered this sale, it was maybe like 4 or 5 in the morning, because that's when I wake up, and a bunch of stuff was already gone. But I picked up a copy of Everyone's Golf VR. I've actually wanted this for a while. Seeing reviews for it, it wasn't something I thought justified spending like almost $30 on it, but for 9 and change, definitely. An imported copy of Ninja Gaiden Trilogy on the PS4. I went with this because I didn't trust the Switch running it, to be honest, and plus this is, I think there's 2 editions of this, because I've heard there's a Zero D and a Zero Z, which is, the Z is obviously completely unedited, from what I understand, and D apparently has fewer decapitations, because that makes a rat's fucking ass difference. Anyway, Scarlet Nexus, I wasn't going to pick this up day 1, actually, but I sold or traded my Xbox Series S because I got my Xbox One S because I got a Series S. And in terms of credit, I actually traded into a game store for credit just because the cash wasn't all that great for what I was expecting. But I wanted to pick this up anyway. So basically this was $3 because I had to pay tax on something because I pocketed the rest of it. And there's the cat. Hi. And there he goes. Now this, I have to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed in Guilty Gear Strive. It looks amazing. And Guilty Gear has never been fast by comparison to like BlazBlue. BlazBlue is a lot lighter. Guilty Gear is a little bit more hard and pronounced in terms of the combo system and the battles. I don't know what it is about this. It looks like Guilty Gear. It sounds like Guilty Gear. The characters are definitely Guilty Gear, but I'm just not feeling it. I honestly, normally by now, I'd have at least gone through story mode, at least, or maybe even just a couple rounds of arcade. I think I did 2 or 3 matches, and I haven't touched it since. I don't know. I don't think I put enough time into it, obviously, but I expected more, I guess. And it's not fault of the game itself, just something is wrong. And I feel like coming off of BlazBlue and fast games like DBZ Fighters, I think I just prefer speedier games now when it comes to fighting, I guess. Your Replicant, is this Replicant? Yeah, Replicant version, hang on, 1.22474487139. I played the original Nier. I absolutely loved it. I did not realize back then that there was actually 2 versions of the same game, one with Brother Nier and one with Papa Nier. And for the record, we got the one with Papa Nier, and this is the one with Brother Nier. And a few people have said this is actually kind of strange, coming off of the original because of some of the dialogue. But I don't know if there is a DLC or a cheat or something where you can actually play as Papa Nier. But I do want to replay this, but I spoiler alert, I did finish Cold Steel 4 if I put this up before I do the other video. And I think I set out with a goal this year, and I think I fulfilled it, and I think I have had enough RPGs for a minute. But I really did enjoy the original Nier, as I don't want to say as broken and as messy as it was, but there was a lot about it that just, I would say, inherently shouldn't have worked, and it did. Now this I got from Limited Run, just because, to be honest with you, this is a collector's box of the, I guess you could say, the remaster or enhanced version of Terminator Resistance, which I played on the PS4. It's a first-person shooter that takes place within the Terminator canon, actually. And is it a great FPS? No. Is it a fun FPS? Yes. Are you a fan of Terminator? You gotta play this. This is a cult classic in the making. Or made, technically. Good enough to the point where when Limited Run was doing this, I guess you could say, distribution release for this game with a special edition, I wanted it. Like, as somebody who's kind of sworn off of special editions for the most part, this is something I really wanted. It felt, how could I put this? It felt like a PS2, PS3 era FPS game. A little clunky, not so good graphically, but some moments you're like, ooh, that looks good. But then other moments, everything is flat and looks like it's covered in Vaseline. But it's fucking fun. And it really makes you fear the Terminators, because you can't just run them guns blazing. You'll take out 1 or 2, but eventually they'll overpower you. Now we're on to Switch. All right. Got my copy of Razion X. This is the new shooter from NG Dev Team. And if you're seeing this and you're going, oh my god, I have to order that, this thing been sold out. As a matter of fact, I actually forgot about it being released, and I missed out, and I had to go back the second day, and it sold out again within 2 or 3 minutes. NG Dev Team does really good stuff. They did Gunlord, they did XY, I think it's XXYZ or XXY. They've also done Fast Striker, which is amazing. And this is their latest entry. I don't think this is even available on the eShop yet. I haven't opened it clearly because I'm afraid. But I was just shocked at how quick it went, considering there's just so many limited release companies these days that I feel like, as I pull the limited release stuff off to the side, I just feel like there's just too much to keep up with. And it's reaching a point, like, not even of diminishing returns, it's reaching the point of annoyance. Because it's just impossible to keep up. And there are titles that, you know, the FOMO is real for some of them. So, case in point, this is all limited release stuff. That's a lot of limited release stuff. Now, admittedly, some of this is limited run, so this was ordered like a year ago. But we got Hero Must Die Again, which is interesting because really it's an RPG where the hero has saved the day, but he's dying. And pretty much you have to die. And you're just playing through kind of like an epilogue. And it's basically him just trying to put stuff right or as bad as best he or you can before they pass on, and then the next hero takes over. And there's various different. It's been on PC a while actually. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like the best ever, but in terms of concept, I find that kind of interesting. But it isn't something I was going to play on PC because honestly, I don't like sitting in front of the computer. But now we hear announcements of Steam Decks, so that could change. If you don't make a Switch Pro, somebody else will. Also grab physical copies of No More Heroes 1 and No More Heroes 2 on the Switch. I'm looking forward to 3, but truth be told, never finished it, never played it. I think it's obvious I like Suda 51. The last day of June, this is kind of one of I have this digitally on the PS4, but what little I played of it, I really did enjoy. This is one of those hipster narrative games, I'll say. There's a little bit of puzzle solving. Basically, it's a whole time manipulation mechanic, in which case you're trying to manipulate time to progress within the day, which is the last day of June. And basically, you change things within one timeline, so it influences another timeline. That's basically how your puzzles go. Not super long, not super complicated. It's over in like 2.5, 3 hours. Not like fucking they all went to Rapture, which just kept going forever. But I have a feel I got this just only because I enjoyed what I played of it so far. I highly doubt the Switch is gonna be able to do this thing justice graphically. And this was an interesting release from the the Super Rare team. This is a dual pack. It's the Lion Song and the Flower Collectors. 2 sets of, I guess you could say, adventure style games. I've downloaded the Lion Song, but I haven't played it yet. But when it comes to like dual pack releases for games that literally do not take up any of the memory card, I'm all for that. I think that's brilliant. I think that should be done more often than dropping $40 on 40 megabytes. I think this is ridiculous. Silver Case, 2425. This is I guess you could say, a compilation of the 2 Silver Case games, which are, how could I put this? Adventure visual novel games, Leo, from Grasshopper Manufacturer and, Suda 51. These were back on the PS1. They've been released a few times at this point over here after years of not being over here. We got it on the PS4, we got it on the PC, now we have it on the Switch. I think they're on mobile. I want to say they're on mobile. Maybe, but I honestly felt like they would be perfect on the Switch just because you can pick up, you can go, you can plug it in, you can't plug it in. How does it run and perform? I don't know. And I've been harping on this, but lately that's just all I think about the Switch. I basically don't go, ooh, I want Legend of Mana on the Switch. I go, will Legend of Mana run on the Switch? Haven't played this yet, but this is obvious. The remaster was done by M2, which has done great things. But curiously, there's some glitches that they just didn't bother to fix. And I don't know if that is, in terms of items just not having their statistics work correctly. I don't know if that was intentional for the sake of preservation or what. And then graphically, they smoothed over everything but the actual character models, which I kind of like. I know, and now the cat is back. Some people don't. Some people think it looks strange and off-putting. I kind of like it. It's a little strange at first, but it grew on me after a while. Mario Golf, Super Rush. Fiance's watching TV. I have to be careful. Super Rush. This is. I was looking forward to this, and a lot of people say this is just like Mario Tennis. It sorely has like no content in it, but I haven't really put the time in it to say that yet. But I tend to enjoy the Mario sports games. I wish to the heavens above, I want another Strikers. I loved Mario Strikers on the Wii. That was some of the best fun while playing Final Fantasy XI against my buddies back in the day. So much fun. I don't know why they haven't done it on the Switch. Hell, even give me like a Super Mario NBA Jam style game. I would totally be into that. I actually, oddly enough, I actually started playing NBA Jam on the Xbox One maybe like 3 months ago, and then I just unlocked Patrick Ewing, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Root Film, another visual novel. This is the sequel to Root Letter. I never finished Root Letter, to be honest with you. I actually rebought it maybe a year and a half ago. I started to play it and I was totally just fucking bored by it. But I think I was not in the mindset at the time, because at that time I was thinking like I wanted to play nothing but visual novels and I wanted to just blitz through them. You can't think of it like that. You got to think of it as a slow release. You know, it's for fun. It's not for job. Not as a job. I'm speeding up because there's just too much shit going on around here at this point. Monster Hunter Stories. I got this as part of a buy two get one thing at Target a while ago, and this finally came in. I love the original Monster Hunter Stories on the 3DS. That game is so much better than it has any business being. As simplistic as the battle system is, the characters are likable, everybody's lovable, and the Rathalos is just fucking cute. This sequel is, I believe it is temporarily Switch exclusive, coming to PC. I imagine eventually it will come to the PS4 and all that stuff. But again, same question: how will it run on the Switch? And everybody says it looks great, but frame rate does take a few hits so often, depending on what's going on the screen. But Monster Hunter Rise worked really well, actually, and I think Capcom has a really firm grasp on the Switch hardware. So if there's a dip, I imagine it just can't do it. And now this game, everybody, it's either people shit on it or they really like it. I'm in the boat of really liking it, and that is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. My third favorite Zelda game, as a matter of fact. And I may just be a little bit more nostalgic for this game than anybody else, because at the time, this is really when I started to get heavily into collecting. As a matter of fact, it's probably in a pickup video in the archive that I have somewhere around here from when I first started on YouTube back in 2011. I'm pretty sure I had it. I got the stupid edition that came with the gold Wiimote, that is now, I think, worth a lot of money. I never got the nunchuck, so that sucked, but I got the controller, and I'm missing the nunchuck. My friend has the nunchuck, and she refuses to sell it to me. But I got over it eventually. But with Skyward Sword, this was really the game where they had claimed they were finally going to explain the Zelda timeline. So for me, I was like, okay, this is the game I got to play. And I really took my time with it. I probably spent at least 45 hours, maybe pushing 50 on this game. And trust me, this game is not that fucking long. There's no way it should take you this long. Maybe it was the combat with the waggle and the wiggling and this. And I'll tell you, the last boss fight, as epic as it is, there is one particular motion you have to do, and the game just could not register it because the motion sensor was just too low compared to what I was doing. So it was like I was basically on the floor going like this just to get it to work. So I'm happy they made some adjustments to the controls here. But a lot of people have said that the game is ugly. It doesn't look good. Link looks like he's covered in Vaseline, yada, yada, yada. And I agree. It was on the Wii, and the Wii did have some problems in that department. This is an HD remaster, but HDifying something can only do so much unless you do it from the ground up. And I know Nintendo, and Nintendo likes to maximize profit, so if you thought they were going to do this from the ground up, you out of your fucking head. I am looking forward to replaying this, though. And here's the cat again. I am looking forward to playing this. I am not fucking editing any of this. I am looking forward to playing this again. Probably not so much immediately, because I do want to replay Twilight Princess first, because the last time I played that was literally when I bought my Wii, which was maybe 6 months after it came out. But with Skyward Sword, I give up. So with Skyward Sword, Jesus Christ. So with Skyward Sword, this was really like one of my Alex Lives by Himself games, and I just spent a lot of time with it. And, you know, at the end of it, I thought I understood the timeline, and apparently I didn't, because then they made a book, and I was wrong about everything. And then I was like, okay, now it makes sense. And they released another book being like, haha, fucking fooled you, because we made another Zelda game, and now everything's obsolete and no longer canon. But it's a good game. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people thought it just was empty and boring. I didn't think so. I think the controls didn't really help it, but that was the thing at the time. So, also came with these sweet decals, and that's it. I give up. I am done. I've been Alex, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Take it easy.